So the question is, why are we hesitant to use this technology? I'm not here to convince you to use precast, but I'm here to tell you there is a choice. There is an alternative that perhaps this one, perhaps we can try using precast. Is this true? Is this question? Precast is a new technology and cannot be trusted yet? Anybody? You believe on this? Gentlemen, ladies, 312 BC, the Rome already used precast. They built this aqueduct, whatever, viaduct, they're doing it. Now, you cannot talk of precast without touching the subject of cement. Cement was invented in 1824. And in 1867, another Joseph used cement with reinforced concrete. Okay? Precast, modern precast started 1905. 1905, John Alexander Brodie, he is a British guy. He is the one who started all of this. You precast panel to build apartments. I would like to show you something. Are you familiar with this building? This is Habitat 67. This is designed by Mushi Safdie. This is an award-winning design. This was done in 1967. That's why it's called Habitat 67. You can see this in Canada. This architect is a Canadian architect. How was this done? That's precast. Prefabricated everything in the plant and then assembled on site. This is the same architect that designed your Marina, Singapore, Marina Bay Sand. Same guy. All right? Now, during the 70s, Singapore government decided we have to build residential housing for the Singaporeans. So the Housing Board and the Housing and Development Board of Singapore decided all housing has to use precast, all. So what they did, Singapore is a small country, their precast factories is across, it's outside of Singapore, it's just in Malaysia. So they go across the border, set up a factory, and then bring it back to Singapore and use it. So until today, many things are done off-site, precast factory, before being installed on-site. This make it faster, more efficient, and cost-effective. I would like to show you a short video. It's probably the first precast building in Sugbu. 100% precast. Now, I would want to remind everybody, what you see precast today, here all over Cebu, are mixed already. There are architectural precast attached to standard, how do you call this? Attached to conventional construction method. So this one is 100% precast. There are dates. So in 1993, that's me over there, black hair, now old man. Okay, so but we started doing precast in 1993 here in Sugbu, and we build this building, design this building. That's a precast stair, you can see. Those are load-bearing wall. You will notice that half, maybe a third of the building, consists of precast columns and beams, but 2/3 of the buildings are all done in load-bearing panel. So it is done purposely with that. This building is still there in Capitol. You won't even know that it's precast. You pass by on it. I'm very sure some of you must have seen that building. All right? Another structure that I want you to see. This is a very elegant church. It is designed by Richard Meyer. You can see this outside of Rome. Beautiful church. That is precast. The Italians is very good on this. Italian precaster, they're probably the best in the world. And what makes this building different? This Italian guy used photocatalytic additive that will make sure that the whole building will stay white and clean. Richard Meyer is known for his white design. So almost all his buildings are white. So this one, done by an Italian precaster, they also make sure that the church is forever clean. So it is self-cleaning concrete. Very often, people ask me this question. Precast is prone for leaking. Well, I had paid my tuition fee too. When I started, I had the same problem. Oh my God, everything is leaking here, there, and over, whatever. Yes, that was 30 years ago. When we started, the technology of sealant is not that good yet. Today, technology, sealant is far better, many times better. And we also found out one thing. Our workers, we asked them, okay, after installing, you have to put the sealant. Okay, but you have to clean the panel. Now, there's a problem of the definition of cleanliness. When your panel is dusty, it's your sealant won't stick. So there's that problem. And also the way you apply the sealant. So there are techniques on how to do it. But all of this is solved. It's not an issue anymore. You are concerned sealant with precast panel, concrete precast panel, but you never ask the aluminum installer glass on their sealant because they do the same thing. They install your window, they have to put sealant outside, isn't it? You are not concerned with that. All right. Precast cannot be trusted during earthquake. Do we still have time? Okay. All right. I'm going to tell a short story here. Maybe 20 years or so, I have an uncle in Bohol. This guy stayed in US half a year and half a year in Tagbilaran. So he said, you have to come to Bohol and build me a house. And I told him, you know, I don't do residential houses. I really don't. Especially during that time. So I said, okay. But he said, no, he's very insistent, come. So I went there. There was this Japanese guy who wanted him to build a house, very quickly because he is going to Japan, and when he come out 30 days, after 30 days he's coming back, he said, I want my house. Okay. So he said, you finished 30 days? I said, okay. You know, Japanese, they're polite, but they're also sarcastic. They have a sarcastic smile. Are you sure? Yeah, okay. I said, well, anyway, we come back and design very quickly, hopefully that we'll be able to meet the deadline. And while doing that, they also apply building permit. Few days before we send the finished product to Bohol, to Tagbilaran, the building permit was out already. So I immediately sent people to do the foundation work. And foundation work is very simple. It is simply thickened slab because this is all in load-bearing wall. The day we arrived Tagbilaran, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I said, okay, let's start assembling at 6. We have to stop at 10 o'clock in the evening because it's noisy. We're doing a lot of drills. The following day, after 16 hours, the whole building is done. That's a 3-story. Okay. I immediately have a problem the following day from the building inspector. He was so mad at me. He said, I'm going to fine you for this because you are building your building way ahead before the building permit. I said, no, that's not true. Luckily, I have a neighbor. The neighbor saved the day. He told the building inspector, kana na building, wala dyan mo gahapon. So, he was telling the building inspector that building did not exist yesterday. It saved my day. I was a superstar for that day. Everybody, I was the talk of the town. Now, that same building, 2013, Bohol has a big earthquake, right? And after that, 2 weeks after, you have Yolanda, right? I will be very honest. The same uncle called me up. You have to visit me in Bohol. Of course, I went there, and with heavy heart, I was thinking, God, something must have happened with the building. I'll be lying if I'm telling you that I was not worried. I'm very worried. So when I reached Bohol, he said, you know, there are little leaks here, leak there, and that's it. You know, can you imagine how many buildings that were destroyed during that time? And our precast building is still standing, a little leak. Why? Because the earthquake in Bohol not only do that, but also like that. So everything was loosened. So I said, okay, I'm going to send you people to fix this. We send 4 people, tighten all the bolts, reseal, and good as new. That's not the only earthquake. This is true story. This is not the only earthquake that we have. I also built a hotel in General Santos many years ago. I think now it's around 18 or 20 years already. As you know, if you're familiar with General Santos, from time to time they have earthquake. From time to time. So we have things like that, and I was happy. 5 years ago, I visited General Santos. It's still there. It's still new, and it's good. Precast is expensive. We will explain to this later on, but yes and no. Again, if you are doing one single building, probably yes. And I would say, if you are cost conscious, just do. And right now, again, I'm talking about 100% precast. But if you want to do partial precast, it's not a problem. Okay. Now, but if it is a mass housing or there is there is an economy of scale, then precast is not expensive. Have you encountered this? The unattainable triangle? This is when it is fast and cheap, it is always poor quality. When it is cheap and good, it takes 1,000 years to be delivered. Okay? When it's good and fast, it is most likely very expensive. Isn't it? Now, in construction, time is very important. We have encountered a lot of projects, a lot of clients that is always, every time is always in a hurry. So, very quickly, I have another short story, but then this one is a client of mine told me, Albert, you are almost 20% higher. I said, okay. So how long do you expect this project to complete? He said, 2 years. All right. Are you willing to pay that 20% if I cut it down by 50% construction time? He said, sure. We finished the project in 8 months. He paid everything. Okay? So is construction, is precast expensive? Probably not if you consider the time element. All right? Now, precast has too many design constraints. Really? I would say not really. A few years back, I went to Singapore. I visited this building. This building is designed by a British guy. This is Nanyang University. They call it the Learning Hub, and Thomas Weatherwick designed this. Beautiful. That round thing, the whole thing, that's precast, segment by segment. It's so beautiful. Building precast is a concern of the contractor. My answer is no. It is a concern of all. You, as the designer, has to learn and understand precast. It cannot be, bahala ang contractor. No, no such thing. Learn. In our profession, like you, there is a non-stop learning. Learning is a continuing process. There is always something new in the market. We are all learning. You cannot stop. You cannot say, let them do it. You come to me with, okay, can you do this? But it's too late. You already halfway in the construction. We cannot help you. You want us to help you? This has to start from day one. Conceptualization, day one. When you start on it, you have to consult already. Let's discuss. How do you want this? We can help you, but we do it day one, not after everything is complete. Designing with precast is intimidating. It is for expert only. Really? No. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's learn. It is only intimidating in when you don't know anything. Unfortunately, this is not taught in school also. That's a problem. Nobody is teaching it. But since nobody is teaching it, sariling sikap, let's all learn together. All right? Okay? Because we are open. We're open. You want to learn? Come. We will sit down. We will sit down with you. We will teach you. We will teach your guys how to do it. It's not a problem. So, I think I like to end this part. So, we'll resume later on. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Engineer Albert, for giving us a quick look into the ins and outs of the prefabrication process. It was really fascinating to debunk some of the myths that we had about precast concrete. Don't you think so, Jam?
Yes, definitely. I'm learning so much. I've actually had a lot of reservations about precast before, but I learned today that It's not that difficult to understand. It's not that, it's really just me being ignorant, actually. But you know what else is interesting, Odds?
What, Jam?
So this afternoon, we will get to see the BTS, or the behind the scenes of this plant. So we have an opportunity to look at their precast products, and we will see also how the process goes.
So we will be assisted by architect John Lim and engineer Kevin Lim. During the tour, may I remind everyone that picture taking is strictly prohibited. Thank you.